worried about today. Alright. Well, let's get started. We'll talk for the people showing up for the VOD later. Hey, Ptolemy! Welcome back. It's been a while. How you doing? I think it's been a couple weeks, maybe even a month since I last saw you. Let's see what we got here. I played a script kill yesterday. The name is Tuchuan 2. Really let me cry, very sad now. Think about it, is still very sad. Oh boy. So the influx is still happening, it looks like. I mentioned last stream that the devs put out kind of a notice that there's a bit of misunderstanding in the game lately because there's been a huge influx of Chinese players apparently. Alright, let's see. My mom took me to get my hair cut. It was cut too short, so I looked like a boy. My mother was very angry before that. I tell my mom I want to dye my hair orange, but my mom won't let me. I'm so sad. Oh boy. Yeah, I get the feeling we're probably going to hit a lot of ESL types. Which is fine, it just means we have to work a little harder to parse this out. Interesting. So I get the feeling... Want to dye my hair orange. That's pretty bold. I'm guessing teenager. Well, if the mom had to take them to get their hair cut, probably even pretty young as a teenager. It does remind me of when my mom used to take me to haircuts. And the tough thing about being like an adolescent, orange. The tough thing about being an adolescent, right? And I'm not talking teenager, I'm talking like 12, 13. Hey, Kit Kat, welcome back. Just in time for the start of the stream, too. Right now, we're addressing a poor girl who got her hair cut too short because her mom made her, and now she looks like a boy, apparently. Even though she wanted to get her hair dyed orange. Enjoying my extra long stay with the folks. They're coming back. So I'm trying to get this one last stream in before they come. But they are leaving the country on Sunday, so that'll be that for a while anyways. I just didn't want to hold off like a whole nother week before streaming again. But yeah, as I was saying, being an adolescent is a little tricky sometimes because when you're like 10 to 13, maybe 14, you don't really have a lot of independent control over yourself. You don't make your money, your allowance is minuscule, so you can't go and get the hair cut the way you want. And when I was a kid, my mom made me get a perm. And wasn't that a horrible thing to behold? As an Asian man with very straight hair, suddenly going into school with very curly hair, it did make me feel good about myself. I don't think anyone really cared. I don't think anyone was like, wow, what a great hairstyle. You look like my grandma. I mean, we've all heard the stories. At some point, we've all had the bowl cut because it is the easy cut after all, but, you know, it's tough when you're at that adolescent stage. Oh, Ptolemy. Yeah, don't worry. I'll stream Persona 4 Arena again. I'm bringing back Social Link Saturday and Sunday. In soon order. I dropped like 2 ranks this week, so I gotta build up my confidence again. Let's see. Okay. Short hair doesn't have to look like a boy's haircut. A lot of girls find interesting and unique ways to style it. Ever heard of a pixie cut? It's very popular among courageous women in the US. But look at me, it took me 19 years of my life to finally go and get a haircut that I wanted. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, Kate Cat. I feel like you don't get that freedom until you're kind of a late teen. And so maybe we just gotta reassure them, right? I think if you want to dye your hair, you're going to have to wait until you're old enough to pay for it yourself. Most parents aren't really supportive of that kind of thing. It's okay. You can probably get by with styling mousse or hair gel in the meantime. It could be cool. No matter when you get that haircut, it will feel amazing. That haircut of freedom. The freedom to do your own hair the way you want it. Sadly, I never figured out how to make my hair the way I like it. And I actually have kind of a skin condition where my scalp doesn't react well to product. So I just have very brickish looking hair. Ungelled, unstyled, and it's just kind of in the shape that it always is when it's dry. Now, what we got going on here? What if they're dead? What if you're forced to lose your connection with them because they die tomorrow? Is it even worth making relationships when they all end? I don't listen to them, but these thoughts have been in my mind for years, and it's so annoying. So they obviously don't agree with the sentiment, but it sounds like they're struggling with a certain degree of nihilism, right? At least it's not melodramatic, but it is on their mind. Have you tried to let your hair grow out? Oh man, Ptolemy. There's this tragic thing called terminal hair length. I tried to so here's a bit of lore here. Back when I was like a teenager, I was really into anime, and I watched this ancient ass anime called Ranma. If you don't know about Ranma, you could look it up in the history books. It was this martial arts anime, and the main character had like this braided up ponytail. He was a martial artist, and I thought it looked cool. And I wanted to do that one day. But no matter how long I let my hair grow, it stopped at my chin. And so I ended up developing a mullet, which is kind of tragic. The also kind of the tough thing about long hair, especially as a jet black haired Asian, is that it doesn't look good when you have thick facial hair. Even like Keanu Reeves, right, with the look he's rocking, he looks very scruffy and very like very gruff. It doesn't look very good for a younger kid. And so that's about as far as I got. And so I could never get it to the length of tying it back. And people always made fun of me and pulled my hair. And I had to give up my dream. Right? Like to have long hair and like thick facial hair. It's awful. First, never get an anime haircut. Yeah, anime haircuts, they never work out the way you hope they will. Someone needs to make like a Twitter page about anime characters if they looked bald, and their head shapes would be so bizarre. But yeah, I mean, we were, this is nothing new. I'm an old man weeb. We've established this a long time ago. But anyways, let's help out this T person. Let's see. Sounds like you've been listening to too many nihilists. Though it's good that you don't really agree with it. Certainly, it's true that all things come to an end, but that doesn't mean they don't have value. In some ways, the short-lived relationships hold more value because they have more definitive closure as opposed to let's see. Maybe not this last part. It's a little too optimistic, I think. It doesn't mean they don't have value. How to explain this feeling? Because, like, you could take, for instance, the situation of pets, right? Lots of people have weird apprehensions about having pets because they'll die before your lifetime. And they're like, what's the point? It's only gonna be tragic later. But as a person who's gone through 2 pet deaths, I think it was a net positive at the end. Even though I had to experience the pet death, the years with the pet were worthwhile and are always memories. Let's see. It's kind of like with pets. Pets will almost always die before their owners, but those years together are often cherished and well remembered, despite the painful farewells at the end. 15 years of amazing times with a dog, yeah. I don't think anyone ever, like, regrets having a dog at the end of the run, you know? Just think of it the same way with people. In the end, any important it's hard to really put into words what the takeaway is, though, right? Because it's not just memories, it's something. It's changed you, right? It's life experience. And it's not just about the memories. It's about the experiences that change you and add to your world view. I would say something cheesy, something like that cheesy phrase, what was it? It's better to have loved and lost, but than to have never loved at all. But then we get into cliche territory, and that sort of devalues what I'm trying to say here. Some happiness is better than avoiding happiness. We'll go with that. And then we'll send them a cat to symbolize the eventual death of their friends. Oh good, we got some variety today. Excellent. I'm not 100% about my partner. A friend of ours is joining in, getting an apartment with us soon. It's not totally complete yet, but they've expressed the burden of me being uncertain so close to moving out. I feel like I might have I made a guilt-ridden bed and I will have a bad year ahead. Wait. Not 100% about my partner. Friend is moving in with us. Friend is worried that I'm not 100% about my partner. I may have done it out of guilt. Is that what we're getting here? Let's see. So it's kind of funny, right? Because I get the sense then this person is moving in with their partner out of a sense of kind of pressure or obligation. But what's funny is that it's not exclusive, right? They've got a third party in there, so it's not like they're just moving in together. That said, I think the friend is expressing concern because they don't want to be caught in the middle of a fight or a breakup. Which... yeah, that's I think that's valid. But at the same time, if the friend's concerned about this situation, they shouldn't be moving in with the couple, right? Let's see. So if I'm interpreting this correctly, you're moving in with your partner even though you're not certain of your relationship. And your friend is understandably worried about this as someone who's going to be in this space. Thought maybe there'd be a risk that someone would bail last minute. Yeah, no, I honestly think this is more like impending doom kind of stuff. Either you have to discuss your feelings or hook up with a friend. Alright. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's always about communications, right? And your friend is understandably worried about this as someone who's going to be in this space. Maybe you should talk to your partner more directly about this before moving in. Not 100% does not mean 0, which means it's not like the relationship isn't working. But it's important to communicate your current stance on things, so there isn't any assumed expectations. It'll be awkward otherwise. Something like that. Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's kind of like a lot of people, I don't know, it's like a lot of people are kind of conditioned to be very non-confrontational. And this is not to say that I can't empathize with the concept, because I grew up very non-confrontational. And the thing is, it's like, if you're going to lock yourself in the personal space of another person, and you're not sure, like, you know, you're ready for that, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like, there are those people who just go through with getting married. And it's just kind of like, they're afraid to say, like, maybe this isn't the best idea, but they go through with it anyways because they don't want to, like, cause a fuss or hurt someone's feelings. I'm like, Jesus, people. Thankfully, that latter situation is hardly as intimate, because, I mean, the worst thing you could do is trap yourself with someone by yourself and not have any allies or not have any sort of, like, mediators. But I don't know, if I were that third friend, I feel like I'd bail on that. That seems too risky. Because you're gonna have to choose a side whenever something goes down, right? But yeah, let's see. Next one. I have to find a place to live with my 2 siblings because my mom's a live-in caregiver. Boss's business is getting evicted because of no payment. I've never done this before. Help? My mom found a new care home that'll only take her and my grandma. Ooh. I have to find a place to live with my 2 siblings because my mom's a live-in care. Oh, she can only live. Okay, so the mom's a caregiver of a person who is getting evicted. The mom is found a new home to be a caregiver too, but it'll only allow 2 people. Yikes. I mean, Jesus. The first patient must have had a huge house because that's like 5 people to take care of, or 5 people to house. It's kind of like a DuckTales situation, isn't it? Scrooge McDuck, his caregiver maid, the maid's daughter, the 3 nephews. Let's see. Mom found a new care home. That's crazy though. So the mom's not helping them? Or they're trying to help the mom? Let's see. So the weird situation is this all really depends on kind of the state of affordable housing, right? So it depends on region, so to speak. They don't know how to find apartments. Find a place to live. God, what do people do these days? Because my first instinct is to say try to look on Craigslist, but I feel like that's so fraught with like pitfalls. Like there really isn't a safe way to find this kind of thing. That's rough. I'm guessing your mom's trying to look as well. It's a bit risky, but maybe start with Craigslist. You have to be careful though, because there are a lot of scams out there. So maybe check with your mom before making any major decision. I mean, what other alternatives do people have in this situation? Because I get the feeling they're young, right? Like they're... I don't know if you can legally do this as a high schooler, but maybe really early past that. Affordable housing, couch surfing. How effective that would be, notwithstanding, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing too, right? They already might be staying with family or friends. But yeah, I guess that's true. Why not? There's no harm in recommending that, I guess. If you can pad out the time by crashing at a friend's or family member place. Do that so you can do the research properly. Never be too unimposing to ask favors from people you know, especially for something as big as this. And that's the other thing too, right? I think considering this person is a package deal with 2 other siblings, like they're probably aware that they're going to be a big imposition on anyone they kind of, you know, take shelter from, ask favors from, that sort of thing. Never be too unimposing to ask favors from people you know. Like no basic property values, then searching on proper sites. I mean, it's tricky because there's no like universal constant for that. Like the mom would probably know better, but it's hard to give solid advice without knowing kind of the geographical circumstances at least. Actually, don't people do this? People ask about this stuff on Reddit quite a bit too, right? Maybe try asking on Reddit. Because a public forum is always... Well, I wouldn't say it's always, but it's something, right? It's advice where you may not otherwise have access to people to ask. Oh boy, here we go. Interesting variety we got going. Advice on how to draw more attractive characters. I just want to draw pretty people all day. I can't finish any drawings because they are so ugly. Upsetting that I just can't get good enough to compete with other artists. Interesting. Anyone else in the chat go through, what was it? Was it a WordPress? I went through a Tumblr blog phase where I was trying to teach myself how to draw on a Wacom tablet. And I got about as good as like a very scuffed, like imagine month 1 Pokemon manga art. And then I kind of stopped at there. That's where I peaked. Advice on how to draw more attractive characters. Just want to draw pretty people. Upsetting that I just can't get good enough to compete with other artists. There's a weird implication here too, right? Like maybe they're a deviant art goblin. Am I good at drawing? Oh no, Kit Kat, I'm horrible. I never took any proper drawing classes. I just kind of tried to get through it on brute force. I have really bad perspective. But there were also a lot of obvious things I feel like I could have done to have try to get better. At the end of the day, though, it was a hobby that just kind of took up too much time with no real, no tangible gains for me on a personal level. And then I became a streamer. Admittedly, though, I did gain tangible gains from streaming. I learned how to talk like a normal person. Also very good at picking up conversation and not letting the silence linger too much, so... You can gain skills from anything you try to do. You just have to kind of see a point in it. Advice on how to draw more attractive characters. Let's see, unless you're willing to play at a somewhat abstract style, I think a big thing that lots of artists tend to overlook are fundamentals. Casual artists don't really pay attention to, how would we call this? Physiology, i.e. bone structure, musculature, etc. Even if you're going for a somewhat cartoonish style, I think proportions and bone structure contribute a lot to an aesthetic. The alternative is to draw everyone in headgear. Yeah, I mean that's what's a little tricky here, because if they just want to draw attractive characters, I get the feeling they're chasing other types of similar artists. And there is there's a benefit to using reference pictures for sure. It is hard to draw from imagination only. It's just, I guess it's kind of a weird step between trying to develop your own style or copying someone else's style as a result of referencing, right? If you're going for some, I think proportions and bone structure contribute a lot to aesthetic. Can't get good enough to compete with other artists. I mean, you see it every once in a while too, right? Like people's fan art. There's something always a little off about the face proportions. Because they're not trying to learn how to draw. They're just disappointed with the way they draw. References always help, of course. But you can't forget the fundamentals. Good luck. Just keep at it. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, if you can kind of hide a lot of things if you go more abstract, right? Like, some people draw cute pictures, but they do so by what they call, like, blob art, where everyone's kind of, like, squat and fat and round. But it's cool because it's a style, and there are certain aspects of it that are identifiable. I get the feeling if they're going for attractive, that means they're going for semi-realistic looking. Or at the least, not hyper-deformed. Attractive characters, huh? Send them this anime boy. Alright, let's see. Even when people tell me that things aren't my fault, I don't believe them. I don't know how to not feel guilty about things, even if logically I know they can't be helped. Self-hatred? This was something I used to deal with a lot when I was younger. That kind of weird sense of thinking you have to be responsible for everything, and there's a certain egotism behind that, right? Even when people tell me that things aren't my fault, I don't believe them. I don't know how to not feel guilty about things. As someone who's struggled with that a lot in the past, I know how hard it is to break out of it. A big part of it for me was that the feeling was rooted in self-hatred. I'm hoping that's not the case for you, but at the end of the day, I think you'd still need to develop a sense of self-compassion. Now that's an easy phrase to throw out, but what exactly does self-compassion mean, right? I would say self-compassion is, and it sounds kind of funny to say this, but is sometimes willing to blame other people instead of yourself. But it's true though, because if you're self-compassion means not forcing yourself to take the blame on behalf of someone or something else or some other circumstance. Learning to cut yourself some slack, yeah, but I think it's kind of like a universal law of matter, right? Like, if the blame's not on me, it has to be somewhere else. I think is how some people feel about it. Ah, Kate Cat. Thank you for dropping by. We'll see you next time. Have a good night. I think a thing that people who guilt themselves struggle with is feeling that the guilt has to be attributed to someone. Let's see. At the end of the day, I think you'd still have to develop a sense of self-compassion. And acknowledge that your sense of responsibility may be misdirected. Sometimes people like us feel like blame has to go somewhere. Sometimes people like us feel like blame has to go somewhere. And we'd rather take it ourselves than putting it on someone else. And we'd rather take it ourselves than put it on someone else. One of the hardest things to do is accept that character limit. I think you you'll still have to... I think you have to... Here's maybe misdirected. Is that the blame isn't necessary at all. I think that's about as good as I'll get for now. I could give a whole therapy session on this theoretically, but you know. It's you gotta keep it simple for now. Oh god, here we go. I know a girl. We didn't meet because of the epidemic. What's the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic? I found that I gradually fell in love with her. Because I haven't met, I'm always worried about gain and loss. I don't think she needs me so strongly. I'm sad now. What should I do? I hope you can answer for me from the perspective of women. Pandemic is a bigger epidemic. Ah. Okay, that makes sense actually. Pan, as in like Pangea. That makes sense. So, another ESL situation, I'm guessing. But he's in love with a girl he hasn't met. What should I do? I don't think she needs me so strongly. B. I don't think it matters what she thinks because you don't have enough perspective to know. If you like this girl, it'll probably be easier for you if you just tell her. But be willing to accept if she doesn't feel the same way. I don't think you actually lose anything by being rejected. Especially if you already doubt she'd be interested. That said, just... how would I put it? That said, just, confessing might make it easier on you in the long run. If not with success, then at least you'll be able to move on from your current feelings. Something like that. Isn't it crazy? Like, how terrified we are of just telling a person you like them. Like, I remember I used to be so terrified as an adolescent, as someone in early adulthood. And then at one point I just started saying it left and right and got rejected. But it's like, you know, you say it and then that's it. You know, like, all right, it's not gonna work. Let's move on. What do you lose? Oh no. Really? What are you doing here? How do I... Oh wait, already banned. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Tarragon. I'm like, look at this asshole. He's like, ooh, 3-viewer Andy up here in Twitch. Better start advertising. What an asshole. Anyways, my point being, you go through enough rejections, you realize how small a deal it is. Oh god. Now we're getting political. I don't really want to read this one out loud. And I don't know what it really means in the end. I don't know if this account of the news is true, though. I feel like this is kind of propaganda, but hard to say. Don't get me wrong, there are awful things happening in Ukraine right now, but a little skeptical on that one. Ever feel like you're always there for that one person, but you're not the one they wanted company from? I thought we were best friends until a new person came around. Now they only ever talk to me because I reply, and the new person takes more time to do it. Yikes. Not necessarily friend zoning, but friend of convenience, it seems like. Alright, let's see. R. Sounds rough. It's unfortunate to say, but a friendship is only as strong as the two-way respect. As much as you want to be a good friend and be there for that person, if they're not reciprocating to the same degree, it's only as the relationship is only as good as they're willing to make it. Let's see. Sounds like they're just keeping you out of convenience as well. Have you spoken to them about it? Might be better to risk a confrontation than letting it just fester on your... letting the frustration just fester on your side. Food for thought. I hope things work out. Friends who are only friends until the other friends show up. I've certainly had my fair share of that. And it sucks because I feel like, and this is kind of an unfortunate take to make, but like, I feel like the people who are less naturally interesting, like from a baseline, tend to be the harder working friends in the relationship, right? It sucks to say, but I say it as someone who's kind of been there as well. Friends to people who I thought were way more interesting than me. It's kind of like if you're not talented at something, right? If you're not good at something in a space where other people are good at things, the best thing you could do is work harder, and so that's what you do. And so this person, for instance, I get the feeling they may not be as popular or they may not be as funny or witty as their friend, but they try hard, and we try to think that's worth as much. But it's not often kind of acknowledged. And so as a result, we end up becoming kind of friends of convenience for people who kind of have it easier, I suppose. The point, though, is that this should not be a reason to allow ourselves to become sort of grunts or pseudo-servants of the friends we're trying to be friends with. So I don't know, hopefully they'll have some courage out of this. What? My boyfriend prioritizes his friends' breakup over my family. I understand he wanted to support her, but isn't it a bit rude to be calling her while on a trip with my family? We were actively spending time too. There's a time and place for everything. Anyone else think this is kind of yikes? Like, right, Ptolemy? Like, your friend's hurting. How long are these calls to warrant this response? I mean, it's just like, right? Like how? You're like, no, I get the sense that there's a bit of jealousy because he's calling his friend who is a her. But like, this also seems to, my boyfriend prioritizes his friends, right? So there's another telling kind of statement in there as well. She's clearly not friends with her boyfriend's friend. That's a little. I don't know that I'm necessarily gonna send a kind word about this one, but your take might be a little harsh. If a friend is hurting, it even says they were spending time together, so he is not ignoring her. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, that's kind of like saying, like, yeah, that's a little, oh, God, that's weird. That is so weird. If a friend is hurting and they need to talk, I don't think any good friend would just push that off. For any reason. Yeah, that's weird, man. That's... Whoa. I don't think any good friend would just push that off. I don't think a good friend would just push that off for any reason if they can help it. Personal emergencies don't wait for anyone. Personal emergencies don't wait. Is it? I get the feeling Kay's gonna get a lot of kind of unkind responses to her statement. Yikes. Personal emergencies don't wait for anyone. And it be kind. And if the same thing happened to you, I don't think there's any world in which I can't I can't talk to you right now. I'm on vacation with my girlfriend and her family. Is a reasonable response. Oh my god. I don't think there's any world in which I can't talk to you right now. I'm on vacation with my girlfriend and her family is a reasonable response. This is like one of those isolating girlfriends. Jesus. Like you can't have other friends. I'm gonna revise this. Your take is a little harsh. It's pretty harsh, not a little. I'd almost say very, but I feel like I'd be attacking. Oh God. Yeah, no, there's this like horrible instinct in me to just kind of rip this person a new asshole, but it's just like I think a good friend would. Your take is pretty harsh. If a friend is hurting and they need to talk, I don't think a good friend would just push that off for any reason if they can help it. Personal emergencies don't wait for anyone, and if the same thing happened to you, I don't think there's any world in which I can't talk to you right now. I'm on vacation with my girlfriend and her family is a reasonable response. He's taking a lot of time to call her. She must be an important friend. How do we inject some empathy in here, right? Because we got the, I understand he wanted to support her, but isn't it a bit rude to be calling her while on this trip? If he's taking a lot of time to call her, she must be an important friend. That's not understanding. Oh my god, I'm so triggered right now. If a friend is hurting and they need to talk, it's a reasonable response. Oh, you God damn it, Ptolemy. You're trying to get me out of the stun lock. I understand. Okay. Let's see. How do we... Man, and this didn't even scale properly. Whatever. It's fine. This is what you get. You just changed the voice visualizer. She must be an important friend. Let's see. She must be an important friend. Maybe consider whether it would be... Are you saying you're the type of person who would make someone important, make a good friend, who would put a good friend on hold? Okay. I know the game is called Kind Words, but I feel like it's warranted to add an element of guilt here. Because everything about this request just like... It really reads messed up to me. And sometimes kindness is being harsh. And kindness is trying to... steer a person into being a better, more compassionate person. Harsh words indeed, right? It's all like... Okay, actually, let's look for something appropriate here. Devil... What can I... How else can I impart my sense of disappointment on this person? No telephone. No telephone on here, is there? That's a shame. Alright, we'll look at this angry soda can, but... You know, Ptolemy, I like to imagine that the game Harsh Words would just be like Asian parents criticizing children. Just giving Asian parent responses to all of these. I had ALS. Maybe I will die in 3 years. I'm desperate. I don't know what to say, what to do. ALS? ALS. Disease. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Oh God, Jesus. When muscle has no nourishment, it wastes away in the spinal cord. Motor neurons reach brain, spinal cord, muscle. So the motor neurons die. Well, shit. Maybe I will die. I'm desperate. I don't know what to say, what to do. Alright, so this is a big one. And for once, there's nothing to convince here. Usually someone likes to throw in a bomb and talk about suicide, but this one's legit, like... This is kind of like on the other side of that, right? Because people feel like, especially when playing this game, responding to a suicide note is already kind of scary and difficult to do in the first place, that no one wants to respond to it. In a lot of ways, this is worse because there isn't even anything to convince a person against. All the same, we should try, because if we don't try to respond to them, who knows how many other people will, right? Knowing when you're going to die. Don't know what to say, what to do. We can't empathize with the situation. None of us know, or I don't think any of us know, what that's like. Degenerative diseases, huh? I will die in 3 years. I'm desperate. I don't know what to say or to do. You have my condolences. Gotta be very careful about how I phrase the next bits. I can't begin to imagine how terrifying this must be for you. The best I can do Let's see, the best I can do is maybe try to steer the directions of your thought process in another direction. Does that come with a cure? Am I just kind of over-assuming right now? It sounds like a terminal illness. Curable. Currently, there's no cure for ALS. Yet patients suffering from the disease can be made more comfortable. Okay. So that's actually a little more depressing than I was looking at here. Make the most of the time you have. I mean, that is the end goal. It's just how do you present that in a way that doesn't sound so so well-wishing, so like it's a very easy thing to say, right? It's like telling a depressed person to go to therapy. It's just like, sometimes it has the opposite effect. Best I can do is try to steer your thoughts in another direction. Man. Thing is, this is almost the exact kind of thing a person needs to put out on a forum like this. Maybe I will die. Had ALS. At this point, I think there's no harm in taking a why not stance in life. If you ever had reservations about trying new things, or felt held back due to personal obligations, felt or held back due to personal obligations. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm going about the wrong way about this, right? Because dying isn't a reason to be like, fuck this and just do it whatever you want. You might be onto something, Ptolemy. Do as much as you can with the time you have. No! No, that sounds horrible too. Jesus. Don't be afraid of making connections and fear of leaving them behind. The idea is no fear, right? You have to imagine how terrifying this must be for you. The best I can do is maybe try to steer your thoughts in another direction. Maybe I will die in 3 years. Desperate, I don't know what to say or what to do. I can't begin to imagine how terrifying this must be for you. But don't let it stop you from doing things for your own sake. Keep talking to people. Keep talking to people. Keep maintaining relationships. Don't be afraid to start something new because you see a time limit. The idea is to think of your life as worthwhile, even if it's short. No, it's curious. Because it's like, how do you inspire someone to... Because what makes life worthwhile, right? It's not... You don't procrastinate your life. You don't realize you're dying and then try to do all these crazy things. And like, I follow a few Twitch streamers, and one sort of like has me thinking about this. If any of you have heard of Iron Mouse, she's a VTuber based in Puerto Rico, who apparently has a blood condition that I don't know if it gets better, because she needs regular injections of plasma in order to survive. And so she's pretty much bedridden and can't leave the house. And it's a crazy thing, right? Like that a person can kind of go through life like that. But all the same, she puts herself in front of an audience, she still makes friends, and she still tries to sort of live life in the limited capacity she can. But she does so in front of an audience, and she does so kind of quite regularly too, and it's interesting, right? Yeah, Ludwig's good. But yeah, when I found out about her story, I thought it was so fascinating. And it's also not like, she doesn't want to be perceived in a pitiable way. And so it's sort of neat to see this kind of existence and like how she chooses to live in light of her sort of health condition. So I'm just wondering, how do we inspire that sort of courage in a person, right? Don't be afraid to start something new because you see a time limit. As long as you're alive, you might as well keep trying to. As long as you're alive, you might as well keep trying to find ways to make your life fulfilling. As long as you're alive, you might as well keep trying to find ways to make your life fulfilling. And not hold yourself back. And not hold yourself back. Oh, I know I've been sitting on this one for a while, but I feel like I have to be really careful about how I phrase this. As long as you're alive, you might as well keep trying to find ways to make your life fulfilling. And not hold yourself back. You might as well keep trying to find ways to make your life fulfilling. You might be afraid of how you're passing, of how you might hurt others. Oh God, how do you phrase this? You might be afraid of how you might be afraid of how you might hurt others down the road. But taking yourself out of their lives would only reduce. But taking yourself out of their lives would only reduce their values. You might be afraid of how you might hurt others down the road, but taking yourself out of their lives would only reduce theirs. Live well for as long as you can. Oh, something like that. I think that's about as good and inspiring as I can get for that one. Jesus. Yeah, no, I mean, that sucks. And it's awful to think that, like, I hope this person doesn't get cheap answers. That's the one thing I hope out of this, is that they don't get, like, any shallow, well-wishing responses. And back on to more simple things. Patalamus, you watch Ludwig and you choose to watch me? What is this? What is this huge gap in streamer quality? What is going on here? Hey friends, I got an interview tomorrow for position that leads to my dream jobs. Would love to hear stories on how your interviews have went. Oh God. I got an interview tomorrow. Fighting games connect you. Oh yeah, he's a Smash guy, I forgot. Damn. Ludwig's a fighting game guy too, I totally forgot about that. Let's see, so full disclosure, the jobs that I have personally interviewed for have been vastly inferior to the jobs I haven't interviewed for. But I don't wanna crush this guy's optimism here. Let's see. S. Let's see. Congrats. Great to hear some good news on here every once in a while. Interviews are tricky because I get the feeling a lot rides on how likable you are as a person. One of the last jobs I got, I think I got because I was funnier than all the other candidates. I still was a good hire at the end of the day. Don't be too nervous. Just be a normal, capable, just be a normal, well-spoken guy, and don't be too nervous. Just be a normal, well-spoken guy. Chances are, a lot of your... I think that gets you further ahead than most people realize. Good luck. I hope you get it. Phew. Alright. Ah, no, not one of these. Screw that. Alright. I'm a student living in China, and because of the coronavirus, my school's having online classes. A year later, I'm going to have Gaokao, which is one of the most important events for Chinese students. I'm not really used to this. I'm afraid. What should I do? Anyone know what this is? Gaokao. National College Entrance Exam. Yikes. Standardized college exams. Basically the SATs. I'm not really used to this, I'm afraid. What should I do? T. The Google images are terrifying. Yeah, you know, Asian university entrance exams. It's not a good feeling. Jam-packed like sardines in a big testing center. Everyone's head downs. I don't know how it is for like the SAT exams in the United States. I imagine the conditions are a little more lax, but they really do go for bulk in those kind of situations. A year later, I'm going to have, my school's having online classes. A year later, I'm going to have that. You still have a year, so there's time to prepare. It would help if you talked to someone a little older than you about their experiences, so you'll know what to expect. I imagine there must also be some practice tests out there you can work on so you can get used to the conditions. It does remind me of the SATs, and I think my parents had me preparing for those for almost 2 years before I actually took it. The SATs oddly weren't that scary, but it was like... I think I personally felt more outraged that my future was dictated on something as ridiculous as like analogies on the verbal, because it doesn't make sense. The SAT verbal is one of the biggest bullshits ever. Though I heard they added an essay section after my graduating class, and I can't imagine how hard that must have been for the following test takers. Let's see, I imagine there must also be some practice tests out there so you can there you can work on so you can get used to the conditions. Let's see. It would help if you talk to someone a little older than you about their experiences so you know what to expect. Must also be some practice tests out there you can work on so you can get used to the conditions. I'm sure your parents would support you taking after school classes too if you feel you need them. Normally I'd say it's not that important, but it's China, so I can't apply these American ideals to this guy. I'm sure your parents would support you taking after-school classes too, if you feel you need them. You have the luxury of time, so just make sure you do your research and prepare accordingly. Something like that. Oh, examinations. The worst. Alright, let's say we do one more. It is a school night. And honestly, that last one with the degenerative disease kind of took a bit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. Let's see. I really struggle to reach out for help. I learned when I was young not to. I have a person in my life I can trust to reach out to, but still feel as though I would only bother them, even when I really do need help. How do I get outside help when no one is around to support me? I learned when I was young not to. Unsupportive parents? A lack of support from their friend group, maybe? Kind of similar circumstances, I have to admit. It's like depression and all that, and societally it's tricky because people get really self-conscious about being sad, and it's no wonder because, you know, sad shaming is a very common thing in society. They like to be like, oh, Debbie Downer. Oh, just be happy, forehead. Just, you know, stop being sad. And so it's not surprising that there are a lot of people who kind of develop in a way that they're afraid to reach out because, especially to people they know, more so to people they know, because they don't want to be interpreted a certain way. It implies a certain lack of trust in other people, but it may not be entirely unwarranted, especially with a history, right? I learned when I was young not to. It feels as though I would only bother them even when I really do need help. How do I get outside help when no one is around to support me? Depends on their age, right? Yeah. Let's see. It sounds like you may suffer from some trust issues. Your situation rings familiar to me because I was always too afraid to ask my friends for support because of how they might see me. Honestly, if you're looking for outside support, there's always therapy, or if you're a student, a counselor. Though, to be frank, I think the thing you'll want to work out first is your fear of dependence. Especially when you know you have people in your life you should be able to go to. When no one is around to support me. I think the thing you'll want to work out first is your fear of dependence, especially when you know you have people in your life you should be able to go to. I know it's an answer you probably don't want to hear. But think on it. Sounds like you may have some trust issues. But consider. If you're looking for outside support, there's therapy. Or if you're a student, a counselor. Though I think the thing you'll want to work on. I know it's an answer you probably don't want to hear, but consider it. Good luck. Alright. I think that's all the empathy juice I have for tonight. Let's take... Okay, and we got the repeat, so this is fine. Let's see what the deer sent us today. Alright, so this came up today at work, at my new job, by the way, which has been going okay so far. TBD for a couple weeks, I think. Just because you never know how things pan out after you give it a good shake. But my request is, ever wonder if your ability to excel is linked to a personality disorder? I suffer from some pretty bad anxiety, and it makes me very obsessive about the little things. Oddly, this makes me detail-oriented and capable at my job. I wonder if that's kind of toxic. And it's kind of funny, right? Like, I think people in my field, because I've seen kind of the two extremes. I've seen like hyper focused, hyper obsessive to the point of anxiety. And I've seen people who are kind of like, whatever, man, like, if I can't fix it, I can't fix it, and then they just let it go. Suffice to say, the latter tends to be considered kind of the shittier type of employee, but it's funny that I actively kind of try to work against my nature for the sake of my own mental health, right? Like, I'm trying not to have anxiety, and I'm trying not to obsess over things, but that's what makes me good at my job. So it's kind of makes me wonder if it's sort of a self-sustaining tendency, right? Is career success making me unhealthy in the end? To which B responds, nah, keep slaying. Yes, anxiety is good for you. Keep being successful with your mental turmoil. How obsessive are we talking about? Uh, like to the point where, like, if I'm really like hung up on something, I skip meals, I don't eat, I forget to drink water, I stay up late at night, I think about it past work hours. Sometimes I can't even get to sleep. And don't get me wrong, I try to do things to sort of mitigate that effect. I try to work out, try to maybe like um, meditate, try to calm down, cut down on the caffeine and all that, but you know, I think it doesn't seem like a healthy tendency in the long term. Ptolemy. I mean, I think to a certain degree, a lot of kind of very, very strong gamers have that tendency too. Especially completionists, right? Like it drives us fucking nuts whenever there's a thing we have to remember for later. Like Metroidvanias are the most painful game because you're like, oh, there's a goddamn speed block there. I'm gonna have to remember to come back like 14 hours later in the game when I get the speed boost power up. Shit. And then you don't let yourself forget it until you get to that point. Video games are also a sustaining habit, I suppose. Let me spend like 5 minutes trying to peek into a screen for 5 seconds to fill the map. Yeah, seriously. It's like, you know you're this type of person when you have like a Fextra Life wiki page tab open in your phone that just never gets closed out. Things like that, you know? Yeah, Ptolemy, I don't really drink coffee. I drink tea. But even so, even without caffeine, sometimes it just gets to me. Well, let's see. N writes, it may good or bad. It in your job it's good, but it on your life it will be not nice. You can detail oriented, that can explain it's good for your this trait. If you think this is toxic, you can call help to the psychologist. If you think this is merit, you can apply it to your life. Everything will be Wow. So, so basically they're telling me it's up to me. Just, it's up to you. Just, you're wondering if this is bad for you? Well, that's up to you. Which I guess isn't necessarily wrong. It's just this person spent a lot of time just not giving an opinion. I don't think that deserves a sticker, to be honest. Mental illnesses, despite being classified as disabilities, often ironically empower us. As we learn to live with them and adapt to our circumstances, we tend to overcome the downsides and exploit the benefits. It's important to recognize that you are who you are and you can't really change that, so it's best to accept what you're given. I'm not sure I agree with this message per se, right? That's like saying if you're depressed, find a way to make depression beneficial. and just accept that you're depressed. Whereas like something with anxiety, I think you're supposed to at least try to put efforts towards mitigating. It's my impression anyways. I don't know, this one feels a little shallow. But there are no benefits to depletion. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one's it's a little half-hearted. I don't think I want to say thanks with a sticker on this one, unfortunately. Oh God. Now we're back to the communism. All right, well that was today's stream. Thank you guys for coming by. Tarragon, Patalamus, Cat Cake who dropped in earlier. Let's see. The folks are coming back tomorrow, and then they're leaving on Sunday. But after that, I'll try to bring back the fighting game streams. Still practicing Persona. Should do this again sometime. I appreciate you saying that, Tarragon. It's hard trying to be a mental health streamer, oddly enough, but I enjoy this, and I'm always happy to have these discussions with you guys. Keep an eye out. I'll probably do Social Links Saturdays or Sundays pretty soon. If I can sneak one in, maybe this Saturday, but we'll see. But I'm getting there. I got to rank B+. And then the game kept matching me against triple S'ers, and then I dropped all the way back down to C. It was awful. But yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make good choices, be good people, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.